Heading on out to the freeway, we're the coolest thing on the highway. Yeah, yeah. Me and my antique 32 Studebaker dictator coupe.
Say something, nearly.
Hey, here we are at the 40th anniversary, and I can't be happier to see all the folks turning out for it. This is a great day.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We are glad to be here, 40th anniversary, and can't wait to eat.
I'm with them.
Happy motoring. Happy motoring.
How you doing?
Real good. How are you,
This will be
Steve?
found.
Oh, coming along.
Good, good. Glad to hear it.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. Real good. And just had a knee replacement. Oh, he's lost the cane already.
I've called you all here. I'm Mike Siri, temporarily and for the moment, the president of this thing. In the interest of leaving more time for fun, we thought, before anybody else shows up in the building, we'd have our usual brief business meeting. However, it being one of my business meetings, we're going to give you all a chance to order your drinks first. So in the next few minutes, if you have a drink order to go in, do that, and in just a little bit, we will, let's put quotes around it, convene a business meeting. Thank you. You may now talk among yourselves. Thank you so much for being here. Isn't this inspiring? Yes. All right. We try to keep the business meeting short, and Vita has a stopwatch. I think it is, well, first of all, Jerry and Pam Flegel had to call in. They live in Southern Ohio. They committed to coming to this. They got a hotel in Maumee, which is really only minutes away. And this morning got a positive COVID test. So their trip is kind of spoiled. Right now they're thinking about whether to stay over in the room that they've already got reserved or just head home. They won't be joining us. We're thinking about a little later putting together a Zoom call or something just to bother them. Please keep them in your thoughts. That's got to really be crummy. It's traditional for us to begin a meeting. I know what you think I'm going to say, but with the Secretary's report.
Okay.
The Secretary's report was published in the newsletter, but what is the Secretary's report?
The minutes of last meeting.
Previous minutes of last meeting.
I make a motion to accept them as printed in the newsletter.
I second.
That's the only way we ever keep these meetings short. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along, I call for the Treasurer's report.
We've got money to cover the meal, I presume,
You think you know?
and we have 41 paid members on the roster.
All right.
All right.
That's good.
We're solving.
Treasurer's report.
Second.
We're solving.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Pictures. I hope everybody's been enjoying the newsletters.
Can't see it.
You can't see it?
Lots of pictures from this
Sitting
event
down.
of everybody. And commentary also. If you have anything to comment on it, please send it, just email me. Anything, any comments or little things, we can put little blurbs in there. Or a whole article if there's something you did with your car that you... He sold one, so 2 months ago he had a nice little article about selling his old truck, Studebaker truck.
All my
Anyway, thank
trucks
you.
are old. Thank you very
I
much.
don't think I vote on the newsletter, Connor.
Webmaster, any issues?
Not really, working together with Heidi on photos, and anybody wants anything in there, let me know, I'll put it in.
The reason we have a board is because after you put together the perfect punch, somebody has to drop something in it. When we set up our events for the year, we had a perfectly clear schedule. We looked at stuff we'd been meaning to do, and we picked out some great stuff. We set up a really great idea of a big long day trip to the Gilmore Museum with an option of a overnighter to see the pure stock muscle car drags.
This is this one. He's got a presentation on it.
Okay. As it turns out, we used to have this joke in Toledo about you'd go 6 months without a concert and then 3 different bands would play the same night. We have 2 other events the same weekend that both have really close connection to the club.
Vice President.
Wow.
And so, Vice President, perhaps you'd like to present the details of the options that we have
Yes, I
now.
will.
Thank
We had the idea to have a fun event in the middle of September, which was to go to the Pure Stock Muscle Car Drags in Stanton, Michigan, which is well attended, as you probably know, by the Studebaker Drivers Club. And we go out there and beat all of the barracudas and firebirds and everything else, so that's really cool. And then stay over at least the one night in, let's see, that was Hastings, Michigan. And then go on from there on Sunday to the Gilmore Auto Museum and make it a kind of a weekend event. But since that time has come, more recently, the Detroit Concours d'Elegance has established their event, and it is on the same weekend. So the Pure Stock Muscle Drags are Friday and Saturday, September 16th and 17th, and then Gilmore would have been, or was, the thought is to go there on Sunday the 18th. Detroit Concours d'Elegance, who is now run by the Haggerty Motor Club, is downtown at the DIA, and that will also be Sunday. And it turns out that they have several classes, one of which is the setup for Studebakers. And we have some concours cars in our club, and they were invited to go. And Chip Plymell is going to be taking his Studebaker truck there. Donna, is Donna here? There you are, hi Donna. Donna's going to be taking her Avanti. And I know also that Dave Holtz is going to be taking his 51 Champion. And there were several other members that were invited too. I don't know of anyone else that's going to be going that day, but those are. So, is that, did you know of another one?
Chip in his truck.
Yeah, Chip, I mentioned his truck.
I missed that.
So, we know that 3 of our elite members will be at the Concours d'Elegance at the very least. So that's another option for that weekend. And the third one is that the Orphan Car Show in Ypsilanti, put on by the Ypsi Automotive Heritage Museum, is now back on. And it is also on Sunday the 18th. So, and that's been a long time favorite of the club in years past. And the first time back again since the pandemic. So what I've got, and I'm going to pass this around, is a sheet where we'd like to ask you to sign on here which of the 3 events you would like to attend if you are able. Hopefully you can all attend something that weekend. It's very close to the, yeah, just write your name in 1 column, not in 2. Yeah.
Just say, even if you don't know if it's down.
I'll pass this around for people to sign in. Today's activity, I want us to give Vita some thanks because she's the one who This is a wonderful venue, and I'm sure the food's going to be wonderful as well. And of course, most of all wonderful is all of you guys being here. It's great to see everyone. Thank you, Vita. Okay. Next month's activity is the Woodward Car Dream Cruise, the Woodward Dream Cruise. And I'm going to actually ask Harvey to speak about that because he's got the latest and greatest.
Over the history of the cruise, Joe Papey took care of us for almost 15 years. It's always a bidding process to get parking on Old Woodward, and that's where we park for most of the time. There'd be 250 spots, and 400 cars trying to get those spots, and we won, between 10 and 20 every year. Or Joe won that, and Joe passed a few years back, and I took over for last year. And they decided they were going to move it to one part of Woodward and allow only 60 cars to park, and they're allowing us a maximum of 10 cars. And we won 10 car spots, so we lucked out on that bid. This year, they're not even parking on Old Woodward. We're parking almost on the main Woodward at Walgreens parking lot, which is just south of the Porsche dealer, right across the street. It's like a third of a mile from where we were, 500 yards.
So it's like near Lincoln.
What's that?
Near Lincoln, which is 14 and a half mile.
Right. And what everybody liked, they told me, is the foot traffic. People walk around telling us everything they know about our cars that we don't know, which is kind of cool. And we didn't want to lose that. So where we're going to be, I believe we're going to have that again. We're going to have the foot traffic. So I'm asking for 5 more. We'll see what happens. I got an invoice for $300 for the 10 spots. And we'll have 10 again, at least. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
5 Avantis and 5 Studebakers.
For October, traditionally we like to have a little color tour. Last year we went on a very nice color tour with the VMUSA team, and but unfortunately not too many people were able to attend last year. So this year, if there is a desire, if there's anyone that would like to arrange that color tour, we'd love to have you, get in touch with me if there's someone that has a certain desire to set up that color tour. And otherwise, we have some time to work through that. Okay, and I think that's as far as we need to go out.
Now we get to the fun part. We'll be putting in our dinner order, and while we do that, the 50-50 tickets will be coming around.
Oh, that 50-50.
And this ought to be a good one. We'd like to have everybody say who they are and say a few words about when you were first active with the club and what sorts of things went on when you were in. And then after that, we have sort of a keynote address on that same subject. So if we can start at table number 1.
I'm Clark, and this is my wife Lori Plymouth. I'm Charles and Rachel's Plymouth's son, and I came to the club via my father. He has a 1950 Studebaker pickup truck, and it's a beauty. He loved that truck, and I'm trying to carry on the tradition for him. And I have my son Joshua here. He's not in the club yet, but there's always room. But there's always time too, yes. So other than that, that's about all I have. I haven't been in the club very long, but I hate to say I don't attend too many meetings, but I'm also very busy too. So I will be attentive though. Thank you.
I'm Craig Duffenbaugh. I have a 1950 Champion, and the former owners were my parents, and they were members of the group in the 90s when the Bowling Green Mall show was a big thing. And I think I've been a member for 7 or 8 years.
Hey everyone, my name's Dave Shelbo. My sweet wife Elizabeth Shelbo right here. There she is.
I brought my husband Dave.
So we've been active members of the club for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that.
And Dave accidentally enlisted me to be a member.
Yeah.
So then I found out that I was a member.
That's it.
He was
That's
so
right.
thoughtful.
And she even was VP for a couple of years during the pandemic. That lucky lady.
More weird years than expected.
So we've got a 54 Studebaker Starliner Commander coupe, and it's been in the process of build ever since we've been in the club. Yeah, the car is sitting in Illinois. It's very close. I just need a few interior parts, and the final assembly is happening, and then we'll be good to go and bring in that baby to the show.
It's going to be beautiful when it's
Yes,
done.
yes, we promise, we promise. All right, thank you, everybody.
8, and I'm thinking I joined somewhere in that time. I also have a 55 Chevy, and
How long you had that?
44 years. And probably my fondest memory is the club outing that we always used to go to the Monroe Community College show. We'd have the big luncheon, and we'd have like 40 cars there, and it was great.
The kids loved it.
Yeah, my kids loved it too. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Rode, and I have a 24 champion, a 51 champion, and I got a 1924 Studebaker. I forgot what model it is, but it's big. And it's a real nice car. I got into the club, I was at the Woodward Cruise, and I bumped into Harvey. And I wasn't a member of the club then, and Harvey says, "Oh, join the club." And I joined, and I've had a lot of fun going to events and doing things, and I've really enjoyed this club immensely. Thank you.
Let me get you. Got a 1947 M5 pickup.
You gotta get this guy.
Harvey caught me, I think, in 1995 at the Woodland show. He got me on video going back to that. I kind of got real busy at work until I retired. I've come back now. I also have a 63 Champ and a couple of Studebaker, South Bend Studebaker watches that I submitted at the South Bend show. I didn't do that great, but I found like
Oh, you are.
it's me.
Name called Resto Mod because it's more original on the outside than when I bought it, but it has a Chevy engine.
How many would you like?
Bondi sway
$1
bars.
apiece, 6 for 5.
And
Oh, we'll take 12 for 10.
a Chevy Power Pack overdrive
Something like that. It's so
transmission
good to see you.
with the clutch and three-speed overdrive. My wife has a 65 Corvette. Thank you.
So I give you your chili.
August of '88, we saw the Ypsi Heritage Festival Parade, and a black 62 GT Hawk went by. Ivan and Eleanor Love's car. And it like hit me on the head. I was around Studebakers as a child, worked butcher shop, drove a Lark wagon, and I had this thought about Studebakers till that car went by in '88, and I says, I'm going to get one of those and be in the parade next year. And I went, was introduced to Bill and Sally Volts, who've been in the club a long time. Sorry they're not here today. And they're the ones that got the Orphan Car Show going. So I got a 62 GT Hawk off the original owner. His dad worked at the Jeep plant. I did some work on it and went to a car show, and someone made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So then I got the Bullet Nose and another GT Hawk, the Bonnie, 2012, and so we've been in the club now, what, 35 years about, 34 years. And president, yeah, a few times, vice president a few times, but that's the way it goes. You'll do it again too.
Anybody else? Did I miss anybody?
Jim Brucker, my wife Marie, and like almost everybody here, we were recruited by Harvey along the way sometimes. According to my, I don't know when I joined, but according to my pen, I've been a member of the National for 35 years.
More than
So,
Wow.
So I'm trusting their numbers because my figures don't count much. And I joined the local club and the national because I always was interested in a Studebaker, because back in high school in the early 50s, a friend of mine's father had one. I thought it was the best car in the world, and so that piqued my interest. Actually, my wife and I are into Thunderbirds because I inherited one from my brother, and that's a nasty story. But we attend very few of your meetings, but everybody's always so welcoming and pleasant. It's like that. It's coming back to the old friends, and it's such a welcoming club that we really wish we would attend more of them. And somebody mentioned the Monroe college show, community college. That was great. And the Woodward Cruise with you folks, and the Orphan Car Show with you folks. I've been down to South Bend to the national convention, and whoever in the club today helped put on the big Dearborn show, international show. That was fantastic. And this club really outdid themselves.
Best one ever.
In that Dearborn show, it was fantastic.
There's a lot of us here today.
Okay. And I've been following two Studebakers for about 35 years that I've kept track of because I wanted one or the other. And I think it's a higher. By unfortunate happenstance, both of them slipped away. And so all I want is a 64 GT Hawk, and I don't want anything else. And I guess I'm not going to have anything else either.
Preferably red.
Yeah. So thank you for everybody. Enjoy being with you today.
Okay, one more thing.
Down around Signet, Ohio, and been in this club since day one.
Wow.
Remember going to Costell's for the first meeting and forming the club, and been in it since.
What year was that?
1902.
We had electrics then.
Been in the national club since '79, so.
Scott Berge, Lee and I, she's in the restroom right now, that's convenient for her. We found our car and we were both working together at a retirement community in Maumee. It's an 80 Avani, and he was the original owner from Perrysburg, Ohio, so we found the car like right under our noses. I think it was listed in the chapter newsletter for one printing, and it was, great owner, and it was just time for him to sell, and we were right there, and I think we became owners the next year. That was like an old chapter members in 04, 05, so.
Send me your picture to
everybody. And going to internationals pretty regularly.
I'm Don DeLisle, and this is my son Adam, and I've been a member since 1995. I have a 61 Hawk, and it's a lasted 4 speeds. And I've always enjoyed this club. I'm not very active in the meetings I have attended. I love the orphan show. I've been there every year.
Dan Hess out of Mount Clemens. I got a 59 Lark Regal 8, a little hard top. I bought it from a gentleman farmer down at Tecumseh. Drove it home, not a problem. I didn't even remember where I joined the club, but I've been in the club 14 years, and I'm very happy I'm here because again, it's a beautiful club, and I like the little car. In fact, I just put $1,000 into it, so I guess I got to keep it.
Oil change.
So, thank you.
Tires now.
I wasn't a big fan until I went to an auction, and there was a Packard Hawk for sale, and I didn't buy it, but it piqued my interest. Well, I turned out, about a year or two later, there was an ad in the local little paper, and it said Studebaker for sale. Didn't say anything, no model or whatever. Went to take a look at it. Turned out it was a Hawk. It was a 59 Hawk. I bought it. Sent for the build sheet. I'm 4 days older than the car. And it's piqued my interest since because I've got a 46 Studebaker truck and a couple of parts cars. And I've enjoyed being in the club. I can't attend as many meetings as I'd like to, but I've always had a good time when I've been at club event.
Homer Hinchliff. When I graduated from high school in 1965, I told my brother I was going to get either a 55 Chevy or a 57 Chevy. I'd narrowed it down to those two. He said, no, you want a Studebaker. And I said, a Studebaker, are they cool? He says, yeah, they're real cool. They run them at the Bonneville Salt Flats. And he ran upstairs and got an article called The Ultimate Hot Rod. And he said, I know there's one at. And we went out behind this gas station for $50. I got a Studebaker coupe. We put a Chevy 327 in it. Got my first speeding ticket in it. And eventually we did build a car for the Bonneville Salt Flats. And my brother was a road racer. He road raced Mustangs. And he built a Cleveland motor for it. And eventually we got it up to 206 miles an hour. And I even spun it out once and went through the 3-mile timing marker backwards at 160. I wouldn't recommend that. And I have several Studebaker cars and trucks ever since 1965. Studebaker's been my favorite brand.
Bob Grove, I joined the National Club in '71, and I was with Larry and Ed Linda when the chapter was founded, back when bones didn't ache and joints worked properly. Haven't been active in recent years, but I've always enjoyed the people. It's been a great organization. And, currently, I just purchased a 47 M5. And I've got a 2R5, and I've got a 47 M16 that's in pieces if anybody's interested.
2010 I retired and decided I was going to get something to do. And I eventually bought a 62 GT Hawk. Had that until last summer, sold it. Last Christmas, bought a 84 Gardon. Didn't start driving it, left it in winter storage until roughly Memorial weekend of this year. And been around cruising some places and a couple shows. But in the meantime, I'm also wound up with became the treasurer back in 2014. And attended 2 Crossroad meetings, one in Dundee and the other in Souder. We had some good times, had nice shows, and part of the result of your dues and the money we took in at the Crossroad shows is paying for this dinner. Thank you.
Gardon, my wife Patricia, joined the club when I bought my first Studebaker in 1996. Was a 31 President, which I still have. Since that time, collection's kind of grown. I don't know how that happened. I put a couple of Studebakers in the garage and then another one shows up. I don't know. They multiply. I was a lot more active in this club in the earlier years. It's been kind of sporadic lately, but it's always enjoyable being with the group,
My name's Ron Bush. I joined the club in '91. I've had several Studebakers. Started out with 53, which is reminiscent of the high school car. And then I changed 53s. I had 2 or 3 of them. I finally settled on one that I bought down in Mississippi and drove home. And on the way home, my wife was following me in the road, and I stopped for gas at one point. She says, "Why are you driving so fast?" I said, "I'm only doing about 65. She says, "I'm doing over 90 and can't catch you." So we decided she would go in front and I would follow her. But anyhow, I eventually rebuilt that car and finally got it up to where I was at first place car and holding championship points with it. I eventually sold the car after being pestered so much by this guy, and it's currently in a private museum in Ottawa Lake. So since then, the only Studebaker, quote, Studebaker, that I own is a hybrid. It has a 50 Studebaker nose on it, but it's based on a 84 El Camino Chevy driveline, and it has a 50 Studebaker nose and rear fenders, and came together quite well. And everybody seems to think that it was built by Studebaker, but I have to always correct them and tell them no, it actually is not a Studebaker. But, Anyhow, I have a lot of fun with that car. Confuses everybody that sees it. So, I enjoy that. I do enjoy the club. I haven't been to anything in the last year because I unfortunately lost my wife. She was the recipient of all the newsletters. And I couldn't get into her computer. I didn't know the password she had. So I eventually had to have that torn down and the hard drive replaced. And finally got to where I could get some of the information off of it. But in the meantime, at the race came through Perrysburg, and the Studebaker group was over there, and they contacted them. And Heidi sent me a recent newsletter, and I got invited to come out to this meeting and meet a lot of, reacquaint with a lot of people here. And I always enjoyed the meetings, enjoyed the club. So it's been a pleasure over the years, and I hope to continue. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Studebaker here, and I'm trying to remember when we actually joined the club. It was probably in the year 2000. My husband retired in 2000 and bought a 63 Avanti R2 as a project car, and spent the next multitude of years doing a body off restoration on it. Part of it, what took so long, were health issues that he had incurred, but we really enjoyed this club and the people. It was wonderful. I wish I were out to more meetings right now, but just life gets in the way. And thanks to Harvey and some of the other members, I'm now able to honor him and all the work he's done with his car, taking it to some of our shows. Last year, went to Eiffel Design.
I can see her, but I can't get her on camera.
Contours. Studebaker. My dad had several, my uncle had several. I own now his 54th champion, and I'm only the second name on the title. Our first Studebaker was a 63 Avanti R1. Our second one was an Avanti R2, 64. Then we have a 64 Cruiser. They just multiply. And we've been members of the club for since 1988. And I don't want any more.
Monroe County Community College. I remember one day I was there and Heidi wasn't because she was busy giving birth to our son. And then several years later, we caught our son trying to sell our station wagon to some college girls who were touring, and they were just about to make the deal. So our kid grew up in this club, absolutely, to the extent that anybody's ever grown up in this club. He teaches at the Air Force Academy now. He's a major. He's apparently recruiting for the club. I have a 63 Avanti. We had a station wagon and a really big truck. Those moved on to better homes. And what else? I finally couldn't avoid being elected president after 88, it's close to 30 years in the club. There's only so long you can, you know.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Yeah. So, in preparation for this, no, maybe we'll wait until after the main course is done. What do you think, Ed? When would you like to? You want to wait a while? Wait a while. Okay. Well, I do have a featured speaker for you, but I'm going to let him eat first.
Ohio region chapters, we would travel like Pam and Jerry do now. Sometimes 150 plus miles all around Ohio for meetings and for a picnic on a Sunday afternoon, and we'd come back home, go to work the next day in our Studebaker.
Who drove a Studebaker today? We were approached by the regional manager, regional director, our local Ohio region director, to form a chapter of our own up in Northwest Ohio. Well, we faltered on that for about 5 or 6 years. And finally, in August of '81, we decided to we got 20 people together, of which 4 are here today. And we organized a chapter, voted on a name. I have to thank, what was her name, Pam Urbanski for the club logo. I have to thank Bob Grove for the newsletter title. A lot of people mention the events that happen, and on this this sheet that's going around, it's one of the money-making projects for our chapter, which I have to thank Dwight Fish for, who was a dynamo in himself. We did glassware with Studebaker logos, or Studebaker cars on it. We did the Kingpin project. We did the alternator project. We had enough money to do the big picnic at the Middle County Community College every year. That's what all this was about. Getting money. We had enough seed money that we could put on our show, our zone meets. We did the big international meet in '95. We went up to
That was the king. I
we
remember.
went up to about 70 members. And then the Northeast Michigan chapter formed and broke off. And that brought people closer together. Instead of driving 150 miles a day to attend a picnic.
I ended up buying some.
I was going to mention some of the highlights that we had. Bob Andrews, one of the designers of the Avandi, was a chapter member for quite a while.
Left a note on our first Avandi. I had it at work. And I drove it to work with a license plate that didn't belong on it.
Something I noted in the minutes of November 5th of 1990, Heidi and Michael have a baby boy. That's in the minutes. Did we vote on that? That's in the minutes. I think it was accepted. As we recall. If anybody has anything else, speak up.
Let's see, participating in our survey today. I appreciate that very much. And it looks like the Shelbos won the event. No, the actual, there's a few people going to the Detroit Concours d'Elegance, those who have concours vehicles. There's a few people who would have chosen the pure stock if that was the event that they wished. And for the majority, it looks like the Orphan Car Show is the choice of the many. And so we will change our plans for September to attend the Orphan Car Show in Ypsilanti, and we'll find a nice place to have dinner out there that day as well. So thank you for participating. Hopefully all of you can attend and we can have another $160 Thank you all. And I wanted to also mention to you that Clark has got something that he wants to ask the team. So, go ahead, Clark.
Go over there.
I have a rear end, not the one that's on my behind here. I have a rear end that I brought with me that's out of somewhere, a guy told me it was out of a Studebaker. And I don't know, all there is markings on it, numbers, and I don't know Pooh from Poohville. So, it's out here in the back of my van, and any of you gentlemen or ladies that know your rear ends, would love to see if
Came to the right channel.
I'm hoping so. It's out here in my van, so.
Glad all of you could make it here today. It's so good to see your faces. And